They say the woods hold secrets, ancient and terrible. That if you walk deep enough, far from the light of civilization, you might hear whispers, voices calling your name in a language long forgotten. Most dismiss these tales as folklore, ghost stories meant to keep children from wandering too far. But what if I told you some stories are real? Tonight, we journey into the depths of the unknown, to a place where reality bends, where the shadows breathe, and where something is waiting for you. Story begins. It all started with a simple camping trip. James and his friends, Mike, Lisa, and Darren, were seasoned hikers, always looking for the next big adventure. When they heard about Black Hollow Forest, a remote and untouched expanse of dense woodland, they were immediately intrigued. Locals warned them against it, speaking of strange disappearances and unnatural silence that seemed to swallow all sound, but they laughed it off. After all, every old forest has its legends, right? So, one crisp autumn morning, they packed their gear and set off into the unknown. The first few hours were uneventful. Sunlight filtered through the towering trees, the golden hues of fall painting a breathtaking scene. But as the sun dipped lower, a strange stillness settled over the woods. The birds stopped singing. The wind ceased to rustle the leaves. It was as if the forest itself had inhaled and refused to exhale. As night fell, they set up camp near a small clearing, a place that felt wrong. The trees here twisted unnaturally, their bark blackened as if scorched by an ancient fire. Lisa shivered, claiming she felt watched. Mike teased her, waving a flashlight into the darkness, but even he hesitated when the beam failed to reach the tree line. It was as if the shadows swallowed the light whole. Then came the whispers. Faint at first, like a distant echo, but growing louder as the night deepened. Voices that shouldn't be there, murmuring just beyond the veil of darkness. They huddled closer to the fire, trying to rationalize it. Wind through the branches, maybe animals shifting in the undergrowth. But deep down, they all knew the truth. They were not alone. Lisa was the first to see it. A figure standing at the edge of the clearing. Tall, impossibly thin, its limbs too long, its head tilted as if observing them. The firelight barely reached it, but its eyes, oh, those eyes. Hollow voids, darker than the night itself. Then it moved. Not in a natural way, not with the steady rhythm of human steps, but in a jarring, unnatural twitch. Closer and closer and closer. Panic set in. Darren grabbed the flashlight and pointed it at the figure, but the beam flickered and died, as if drained of energy. The whispers turned into a chorus of voices, 1,000 mouths speaking at once, their words crawling into their minds like venom. You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here. James screamed for them to run. And they did. Branches clawed at their skin as they tore through the forest, their breaths ragged, their hearts pounding. The thing chased them, not running, not walking, just appearing, closer each time they dared to look back. The forest itself seemed to shift around them, paths twisting in impossible ways, trapping them in an ever-tightening maze of darkness. And then they saw the cabin, a decrepit structure hidden within the trees, its windows blackened, its door slightly ajar. They had no choice. They burst inside, slamming the door behind them, their bodies trembling with exhaustion and fear. But the moment they stepped into that house, they knew they had made a mistake. The air was thick with decay, the walls covered in symbols carved deep into the wood, some still fresh, as if scratched by desperate hands. The whispers had stopped outside, but inside, something breathed. A soft creak sounded from the darkness ahead, then another, and another. A hand, pale and skeletal, reached out from the shadows. Then another, and another. The last thing James saw before the darkness consumed them was a face, its mouth stretched into an unnatural grin, its eyes bottomless voids filled with the echoes of 1,000 screams. The town never found their bodies, only their tent, undisturbed, their fire, still burning, and deep in the woods, carved into the trunk of a gnarled old tree, a message that hadn't been there before. You shouldn't be here. Conclusion. Some places were never meant to be explored. Some doors once opened can never be closed. The next time you hear a whisper in the darkness, the next time you feel eyes watching you from the trees, remember their story. And whatever you do, don't look back.